up, y'all? It's me, Brianca Jay, and I'm back with another video. This time, I'm giving you guys more English literature strategies because I'm realizing that some of my younger students, my teachers and stuff, are using my videos to teach their classes, and oh my god, that is so awesome. Thank you so much. Like, that flatters the hell out of me. Like, but anyway, use this video like a restaurant, if you will, and if you enjoy me, treat me like your host and tip me in 3 ways. You can subscribe, you can comment, or you can like. Either of those things really make my day. It helps me know like my videos are impacting, and of course it helps YouTube know, and then it could be like, here goes the money. Then I could be like, oh my god, thank you. I could be like, oh my god, I'm rich. Help me get there. But before we get started, I want to tell you 2 things. One is I have merch available on on Amazon. You can find it on my website, or you can find it on Amazon just by writing in the word Life of Brianca Jay. It is about 7 cool hoodies, tees, and sweatshirts that I just love, and they really represent my personality. The second thing you need to know is that I have a book out. My picture book is now available for purchase everywhere books are sold, and you can also check that out at my website or on Amazon or anywhere else. Both links are in the description box below. Of course, everything else you need to know about me and where to find me is also in the description box below. So use it. Take advantage of it. But without further ado, let me show you how I go about writing a literary essay, from planning and pre-writing to using an outline to draft my thoughts. And this method that I'm going to teach you guys today is really a method that is tried and tested and true. I use it on my students. It always works. It helps organize their thoughts. I used it in high school. It always worked. And even when I got really tied up in college and didn't know what to do, I could go back to that damn outline analysis way of doing things, and it continues to work. So not only will I give you the outline, the planning strategy, I'll also give you a template that you can access in the description box below. So everything is going to be in the description box below. So check it out. Yeah, let's get into the video. So what I want to show you guys today is how to do a planning and pre-writing for a literary analysis essay. Of course, we have been reading A Thousand Splendid Suns, and our assignment today is like a pre-writing assignment. So if you see here, it says, our assignment is to write an analytical essay about A Thousand Splendid Suns, in which you examine a character's response to the cultural conflict that surrounds her or him. In your essay, you need to analyze how the violence and disruption engendered by the conflict impacts the character, and how the character's response shapes the meaning of the work as a whole. So right beneath that, I have some planning and pre-writing questions. These questions are intended to help us like organize our thoughts, right? It's intended to organize our thoughts. So just thinking about chapter 15, I know which character that are responding to cultural conflict. Well, Mariam, right? Mariam is the central character. So I'm going to place that here. Which are impacted by violence that surrounds them. So, I'm sorry. That she's being antagonized by her husband, Rashid. Then, because it's asking me about the violence, I'm going to go ahead and answer that question. Which are impacted by the violence surrounding them? Mariam. Mariam is being abused by her husband. I'm adding a few more details, so that because I might put a pin in this and have to come back to it. So when I come back to it, I want the same ideas I had right fresh to stay fresh. So how does the conflict impact the character? How does she respond? She is constantly anxious and living in fear of her husband. And then what statement about the culture is the author making through his fictional character, and how can you include this in your thesis? So this is the part where it's a little more difficult, but what statement is being made about the culture? Well, we know the women's rights in Afghanistan are limited and leave them vulnerable to the moods, behaviors, and so I would say women's rights in Afghanistan are limited and leave them vulnerable to the moods, behaviors, and actions of their husband. That's something we're learning in the book. And then what textual support you can find for your thesis. So when I was listening to the work, I spent a lot of time, if you were paying attention to the chat, I spent a lot of time just writing, I was just sitting there writing in quotes that I might be able to use. So I'm gonna drop them here in that box. Right? So that's what I would need to do in the beginning. That's how I would plan and pre-write an essay. I would simply answer these questions just based off memory. Mind you, I didn't go back to the work. I didn't have to use complete sentences. I wasn't seeking to be sophisticated yet, because I'm simply brainstorming what I'm going to do overall. So that's how you like plan and pre-write an essay. This will keep all your thoughts organized. It answers the question of your prompt, and it's going to allow you to move into your outline easily. So when you come down to the rest of the work, you'll see that there's an outline here. And so the outline, all right, guys, so now I want to teach you guys how to outline your essay. So when you outline an essay, that's really about making sure it's organized. So when someone's reading it, they're not like, what is this person talking about? This is the part where you make sure your thoughts are organized, you're clear, you're definitely answering the prompt. I know a lot of times when I was in high school, I would be writing and I would get to like the third paragraph and I'd be like, dang, what was the prompt? So this is how you make sure that you avoid kind of going off on a tangent, avoid making silly remarks. So I'm going to go back to my outline. Again, I already have this stuff filled in. And so the first thing they asked me to do is my first sentence, my hook or attention getter, something that will interest the reader in your topic. Now, of course, most times you want to really try to interest your reader in your topic. This is an academic essay, so some of you may not feel the need to do that for me, and that's okay. You don't have to pressure yourself into being like perfect. But one thing that always needs to go in that very first sentence and that very first introduction is the title and the author of the work. So that's what we're going to start off. The novel, 1,000 Splendid Suns by Khalid, who's, if I mess up his name, I'm sorry. The novel by 1,000 Splendid Suns by Khalid Hosseini, and then I'm going to type in the prompt. Reflects how violence and disruption engender conflict and how that conflict impacts Sorry, I want to take off this highlight really fast because it's annoying. No highlight. Okay. The novel 1,000 Splendid Suns by Khalid Hosseini, it reflects how women are subjected to violence and disruption in Afghanistani culture. The conflict All right, so introduction, I said the novel A Thousand Splendid Suns by Khalid Hosseini reflects how women are subjected to violence and disruption within Afghanistani culture. The conflict impacts women in a way that leaves them fearful and vulnerable to the turning moods of their husbands. So that's going to how it started off. It says, begin to narrow your topic and provide more detail. In one sentence, outline the main points of your paper. So some of the main points, I would probably talk about how women are impacted. So I would say women, I'm gonna do my main points first, and then I'm gonna tie in into a sentence. So I'm gonna do point 1, point 2, point 3 first. So women are forced to marry based on their father's ability or decision to take care of them, right? That's what happened to her. Then I would say women must stay home. Women, well, they are must. Women are forced caretakers So these are my 3 points. So it says in one sentence, outline the main points of your paper. So I would say in Afghanistan, the traditional roles of the sexes leave women vulnerable. Because men must maintain power, the women are forced to marry based on their father's ability and decision to take care of them, are forced to stay home and be caretakers rather than maintain a job or career. And lastly, can often and will face abuse by their husbands. So already my introduction is basically done. So then that is probably the most thoughtful part. So then what I'll do is, because I have those 3 points, I'm going to take those points and plug them into my opening paragraphs of each of my bodies. So point 1, my first sentence introduces the paragraph. So my first point was, women are forced to marry based on their father's ability or decision to take care of them, right? So what did I do? What did I do? I'll plug that in. Then I'll plug in my second point, which I said they are forced to stay home and be caretakers rather than maintain a job or career. So I'll scroll down to my second point and I will plug that in. On my third point, it says, lastly, can and often will face abuse by their husbands. And that is going to be point 3, so that goes here, right? Now, so most of this is really done. At this point, I have to go in and fill in the details. So I'm going to model what I would do for like my first paragraph, and then I'll try to model a conclusion for you guys. But the other 2 paragraphs, you just repeat the first one. So it says, sentence 2, provide more information about support or textual evidence for the point. Okay, so for this one, I don't remember the quote. I think it's like Jalil was a coward. We get the quote for Jaleel. Let's see. We'll go with this one. So going back to the quote, I found a quote, so I'm going back to the work. So women are forced to marry based on their father's ability to take care of them. So I would say in the work, right? Mariam is shuffled to her father's home to stay with his 3 wives and 9 legitimate children. However, she is a harami, or a bastard, a child born out of wedlock. We have to explain it. This is a shameful thing for the family, and the wives hurry to ship her away. We know she's only 15 years old, but we also learn that some women get married as early as 9. That comes from chapter 6. Women's choice to get married is firmly the decision of a father. In this case, Jaleel So it says, in this case, Jaleel actively chooses to send Mariam away. And then I put in the quote that I looked up. And then, of course, I need to change it to fit the rest of the, oh, that's not how it looks. Right? And so that's just how you do chat for the first one. So then the last thing I have to do here is conclusion of the paragraph and transition sentence. Complete the point and try to tie it to the next paragraph. I would say, while in Western, we're in a Western culture, while in Western cultures, women are allowed to marry for love. In this country, a woman must marry who is chosen. And then I will move into my next point, right? And that's pretty much how you do your body paragraphs. So of course I'll need a quote, I'll need to break down some of the ideas and show what I understand. In the conclusion, I simply repeat the points I addressed in my paper. So all those points I made at first, I'll repeat them here. And then I will kind of wrap everything up. I'll talk about how maybe the country's changing. They're allowed to go to school now. I'll give a new historical context, but I won't really introduce any more material. So I won't go back to the work. I won't put quotes here. I'll simply make everything neat and come to an ending point. Alright guys, so you saw me plan an essay, draft an essay, and bring it to conclusion. Now it's your turn. I know you got this. I know you feel good about what you've just learned and could take away. Let me know if this video resonated with you, impacted you, and you feel confident on your next literary essay. I will catch you guys next time. Oh, make sure to subscribe, comment, and like. I don't know how many times I gotta say it, but do it. Thank you. Bye-bye.